Good afternoon and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Ogwa Vivian Onyedibia. We begin with a report that the National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Monguno, retired, has re-echoed President Muhammadu Buhari's commitment of purpose in the search and rescue of 110 Dapchi schoolgirls abducted by Boko Haram. Babagana this when he led a high-ranking military personnel, including the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, on a courtesy visit at Government House. Mustafa Yusuf Musa reports.
The National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Monguno, retired in company of the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, and high-ranking military personnel were in Yobe State to brief Governor Ibrahim Gaidam on practical strategies put in place in the search of abducted Dapchi schoolgirls. He said in the last few days, civil and military measures have been deployed across suspected areas meant to locate and rescue the girls safely.
In theater here, the theater command has already started working hard on the search 24 hours, non-stop. The Nigerian Air Force has deployed 20 aircraft in Maiduguri and 80 others on their way. So far, 200 hours have been utilized in flying sorties looking for these girls.
In his response, Governor Ibrahim Gaidam said the tragic incidents of Gamman Girls Science and Technical College Dapchi has left the affected parents, the community, people and government of Yobe State in trauma, as 110 schoolgirls were unaccounted for. Governor Ibrahim Gaidam, however, noted that with commitment of purpose of President Muhammadu Buhari and reposition to Nigerian Army, there is every hope that the girls will be found and returned to their parents safely and healthy.
Estimation of the Boko Haram terrorists in the Mesa forest, early warning signals were issued for imminent attack on some sub-targets, and therefore that should continue to guide our security operatives in mapping out strategies of combating the marauding insiders.
This is the third time a high-powered federal government delegation is visiting Yobe State on fact-finding mission, receiving progress reports, and synergizing with the state government in addition to stakeholders with a view to achieving target result. In Damaturu, I am Mustafa Yusuf Musa, NTA News.
Well, stakeholders from the northern states of the country have converged on Kaduna to brainstorm on the security challenges confronting the region with a view to proffering lasting solutions to the menace. The summit, with the theme National Building, Security Challenges and the Need for Inclusive Approach, had issues of killings and farmers-herders clashes on the front burner. Momso Demian Deti reports.
Recurring incidents of unknown gunmen killings, farmers and herders clashes, kidnappings and cattle rustling, to mention but a few, necessitated the convergence of these made up of state governors, traditional and religious leaders, as well as various security agencies. The agenda is to articulate the peculiar challenges confronting the various states and chart a path to addressing them.
More effective, efficient and effective. The police require over 560 billion annually to transform the police to international best practice standards. Despite this, about 31 billion naira was budgeted for both capital and overhead expenditure for the police in 2017, out of which not less than 10 billion naira was released. However, let me proudly state that the President and the National Assembly are currently exploring alternative sources of funding for the police.
Various speakers at the summit recommended mitigation measures to early warning signs, equipping the Nigerian police force to serve effectively and efficiently, as well as tackling the issue of transhumance as key to ensuring peace and unity in the region in particular and the country at large.
Government should urgently retool, re-equip the Nigerian police for optimum performance this time without delay. 3.
Appear that we have significant scope to expand intelligence gathering, early warning systems, and a capacity for prompt, strong response.
A meeting of the Northern Governors Forum is scheduled to further act on the outcome of the summit. In Abuja, Momsa Damien Ati, NTA News.
Into legislative matters now, several bills were passed for second reading at the Senate's plenary this Wednesday. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegunloye reports that among the bills was that for an act to repeal the Trademarks Act of 2006 and enact a comprehensive law relating to trademarks.
The bill, therefore, is viewed as a significant economic tool that will encourage more local traders, entrepreneurs, proprietors to give a deeper thought to their branding and encourage them to apply for the trademark.
The amendment definitely will go a long way in putting Nigerians on the superhighway of the world's creativity, so that at the end of the day, they will be able to tap and benefit from their creative talents.
It should be protected globally with one registration. If that is done, we will generate a fortune and will have name recognition across the world.
This act has been since 1967 and clearly is totally outdated with modern practices, and as part of our views, our efforts to stem of the economy and bring value to for intellectual rights, this bill will go a long way.
Other bills include a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education, Ila-Orogun, Osun State, sponsored by the Chief Whip, Senator Olushola Adeyeye. Well, the House of Representatives has passed the bill for an act to amend the National Broadcasting Commission Act of 2004. The bill is aimed at providing healthy competition and opportunities for Nigerian media practitioners, especially at the international market. Ignatius Nkwo has more on this piece of legislation.
Well, one of the basic features of law is its dynamism. This implies that when laws are made, at a point in time, some of these laws become obsolete, and then the Parliament comes in to update it by way of amendments. And one of the laws that has been standing for amendment before the House of Representatives is the National Broadcasting Commission Act. Well, that bill has been passed for first, second, had gone for public hearing, and then has been considered by the Committee of the Whole, and then today is passed for third reading. And I have with me a member who is passionate about development of Nigeria's industrial sector, Representative Abiodun Awoloye from Oyo State. He's here to tell us the advantage of that bill. Thank you for joining us on our news.
Thank you so much. Before this time, a lot of these practitioners have been violating the law because they were not provided for in the NBC Act. For instance, getting content from abroad and selling same abroad. The law didn't give room for this. But with this amendment now, the content providers can sell their content, can also buy from abroad.
Do we see this trying to break the existing monopoly by some expatriate media outfit like DSTV and the rest of them?
Yeah, of course. With this law being passed and when eventually assented to by Mr. President, the monopoly, most especially in the sporting event, which has been enjoyed over the years by DSTV and some other content provider, that monopoly is broken forever.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you too.
Well, the legislators also passed two bills And this includes a bill that seeks to amend the Nigerian Immigration Service Act. This is what we'll have for you at the moment, but at the end of the day, we'll bring to you an update of proceedings on the floor of the House of Representatives at Wednesday's plenary.
Thank you, Ignatius. Away from that, a report on agricultural activities during the 2017 wet season farming shows great achievement in crop and livestock production nationwide. The report also indicates an increase in areas under cultivation of staples, further assuring food sufficiency of the country. Musa Baba Aliu has the details.
The document examines some crops output of 15 staples across the federation. For instance, maize production increased from 10,000 metric tons to 12,000 metric tons in 2017. A total output of rice was 8.2 tons, an increase of 14.7% over 2016. There was an increase of 4.4% in sorghum, 6.1% increase in cowpea, and 7.7% increase in cassava.
The annual performance survey being conducted and presented by the National Agricultural Extension and Research Services will benefit other stakeholders in water resources, in environmental management and many others.
We want a situation where all states in the country, including those in the South-South, will also do some investment or make some investment in agriculture. That is the only way they can create the needed jobs. That is the only way they can create the needed wealth amongst our people.
It therefore stressed the need for government agencies to strengthen extension services, build farmers' capacity, as well as early disbursement of inputs.
The backbone of agriculture, extension service staff, they are the ones that go to the field, show you how to apply fertilizer, how to apply chemicals, and so on.
Well, thanks to this Empower people that have been sent to the states, a lot of the states have deployed them into the agricultural extension system, but we need to build it up.
The report states that the farm yield per hectare remains below global and African average. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Two population-related agencies are coming together to form a synergy that will enhance accuracy and credibility. The National Population Commission provides census data used by INEC to delimit constituencies for election purposes, while both agencies met to perfect strategies for the electoral process. Olajide Bello reports.
Shoulder to shoulder, the heads of the country's agencies that the population means a lot to are working to form a bond that will be of national significance. Both NPOPC and INEC, in the discharge of their statutory duties, segment the population. At present, National Population Commission is demarcating enumeration areas preparatory to the national census, while INEC is embarking on a review of the delineation of electoral constituencies. This partnership is coming handy.
Those are sensitive assignments whose impacts are felt or will most likely be felt by the Nigerian public, because if we get our elections right and get our censuses right, then our country is on the way to greatness.
The National Population Commission is the registrar of birth and death nationwide. INEC is responsible for voter registration as well as the cleaning up of the voter register by removing the names of dead persons from the same register. We would like to partner with the Population Commission to make available to INEC all records of death of citizens since 2015.
The meeting is the beginning of a process that is expected to be sealed with a signing of dotted lines and a warm handshake. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Let's now join Elizabeth in our Lagos Network Center for more reports on Nationwide. Hello, Elizabeth.
It's nice to see you, Ogwa, and welcome to Lagos. The Nigerian Navy is to go into collaboration with the Staff College, Germany, towards improving maritime operations in the country and at international level. The Nigerian Navy and the college reached disagreement when the German military attached to Nigeria paid a courtesy visit to to the Western Naval Command. Abolore Ogbara completes the story.
The commander of the Staff College, Germany, Thorsten Schuss, accompanied by the German military attaché to Nigeria, Thomas Biliso, was in Nigeria to seek collaboration and prefer solution to some maritime challenges. According to him, Nigeria is important in the efforts to enhance safety on the country's waterways and the Gulf of Guinea.
We are assisting the Nigerian Navy to acquire more boats to control the Delta, to have more presence in the Niger Delta and on Lake Chad, as well as when it comes to bigger ships, we train personnel in Germany.
Africa is a continent with a, let's say, growing impact and importance for even European security, and therefore it's important to find reliable partners, and I think Nigeria, and especially the Navy, as we learned today, is a reliable partner.
Rear Admiral Sylvanus Abba says Nigeria will always comply with international treaties on security and safety on the waterways. While welcoming the request of the German delegation, he promised that the country will be willing to support any idea in the interest of the nation and the total well-being of the humanity.
We are making use of our maritime domain awareness facilities, and that one also aids us to monitor the high sea, whatever that is happening there. With such facilities, the fuel and other things will burn at sea. We have reduced them and only vector the ships now to go and effect arrest and come back.
It was another opportunity for the two countries to exchange ideas on additional military strategies. In Lagos, Abolore Ogbara, NTA News.
Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode has signed the 2018 appropriation bill of 1.46 trillion naira into law. Nosa Ursula reports that the governor also signed the Consolidated Transport Sector Bill and the Lagos State Teaching Service Commission Bill.
Governor Ambode, while presenting the 2018 appropriation bill to the State House of Assembly, had pledged that his administration would make every effort to complete all ongoing projects as well as initiate new ones to consolidate on the developments recorded in the last 2.5 years.
Lagos has always been a trailblazer, and we must consolidate on the economic gains made so far by initiating people-friendly programs and projects that will attract more economic improvements in year 2018.
Outlining the key components of the budget, Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budgets, Olusegun Banjo, said capital expenditure would go up 699.82 billion naira, while 347.39 billion naira would be dedicated to recurrent expenditure, representing a capital recurrence ratio of 67% to 33% and a 28.67% increase over year 2017 budget.
Not tighten one mode anymore. It's going to be a multimodal system with this law, the water and the rail connectivity with the road that are coming up, and all the infrastructures that have already been put in place.
As part of the reform, we also have the transport law also signed into law today. It's harmonized transport law for Lagos State and the Lagos State Teaching Service Commission law. Those are the three laws that were signed.
The Transport Sector Law 2018 provides for the development and management of a sustainable transport system in the state. In Lagos, Nosa Ursula, NTA News.
The Lagos State Fire Service has assured Lagos residents that it will leave no stone unturned in curbing any fire outbreak in the metropolis. Director Fire Service Razak Idowu Fadipe stated this in a message he delivered at the passing out parade ceremony of 100 newly trained firemen. Abolore Ogbara reports.
The new set of the dependable emergency responders, known as Squad 19, has undergone 6 months of intensive basic firefighting and rescue training on various rigorous exercises and drills. Director of Fire Service Razak Idowu Fadipe said the newly recruited firemen are capable of fighting fire and carrying out rescue operations and other related emergencies.
We are going to increase our capacity in responding to emergency operations. Emergency operations is a question of number. If you don't have the required and the right number of persons to respond to an emergency, there will be occupational hazards.
Commissioner for Special Duties and Intergovernment Relations emphasized that it is the vision of Governor Akinwumi Ambode to continue to expand resources by ensuring adequate protection of lives and property of the citizens.
The recruitment and training of new sets of firemen not only shows the commitment of the present administration to institutionalize a safety culture in the state, but also speaks volume of our determination to improve efficiency and response time.
Some of the newly trained firemen shared their views on the training and way forward.
As a fireman, what's about me is just to save lives and property.
Public education in schools, in the environment, the community as a whole is very, very important. I intend doing that for the community.
The passing out parade ceremony program featured physical exercise drill, use of first aid fire equipment, demonstration of house on fire, and the march in parade in Lagos. Abolore Ogbara, NTA News.
And those are our top stories from Lagos at this hour. Over now to Ogwa for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has appealed to the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, to throw its weight behind Nigeria in its drive to combat fake news. The minister made the appeal in Abuja when he granted audience to a delegation from UNESCO, led by its Assistant Director General, Edoward Mataku, in his office. Anthony Forson reports.
The Information and Culture Minister, Lai Mohammed, while narrating the menace of social media and the present information dissemination process, said things have changed as the new media have been converted to platforms for the propagation of fake news, hate speech, and disinformation.
Government today is on the receiving end. Anybody with a telephone and has access to data has become a critic, has become an expert. And the speed with which views and opinions, albeit most of them not even verified, travel and influence our opinion is so alarming.
Describing UNESCO as an organ that seeks to promote and safeguard cultural heritage, Nigeria is the powerhouse for creativity.
We need to assist the creatives, especially the filmmakers. We need to assist them to improve on their capacity technically, so that they can tell their stories on better platform.
The visiting UNESCO Assistant Director General, Edward Motaku, expressed gratitude to the Nigerian government for the support it renders to the UNESCO Regional Office in Abuja.
We are ready to provide assistance to the government to deepen or to elaborate further the cultural policy, and especially inscribing more heritage sites, especially intangible sites.
UNESCO will hold a World Summit on Information Society and the International Day for Freedom of Expression in May. In Abuja, Anthony Fossen, NTA News.
Well, domestication of oil business opportunities in the Niger Delta, complementary and innovative funding mechanism dominated discussion at the 2018 first quarterly meeting of Niger Delta Affairs Minister with representatives of the governors of the 9 states and chief executives of international oil and gas companies in the region. Joseph Johnson reports that the minister, Usani, who presided over the meeting, said everyone operating on the platform is now conscious of the fact that Nigerians have to be engaged in the businesses that are taking place in the region.
The perception of lack of access to participate in all business opportunities in the Niger Delta region remains one of the key drivers of disaffection by the local population. Now, this perception may not be accurate, a silent notion if you like, but it remains strong and central to challenges of peaceful community relations. This is part of the issues these participants are exploring.
Depending or relying on the government resources will not likely give us the development as fast as we desire it and deserve it. So we expect in the next meeting we will be debating which will contain the mechanism and the business cases that will be attractive enough to attract private capital into the region.
I came here to talk about the Niger Delta Investment Fund, which is a $10 billion investment fund. The purpose of the fund is to channel private sector investor money into the Niger Delta region.
A synergy has been established among MDAs at the federal level towards the sustainable development of the region.
It is expected that the answers to the issues raised during the meeting and of course the resolutions reached will provide a basis for operational mechanism and of course the policy guideline to drive development in the region, particularly on critical infrastructure. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
For Nigeria to enhance ease of doing business, ministries, departments and agencies must continue to deploy information and communication technologies, ICT, to make information available for better service delivery. Musa Abubakar reports that Acting Director General of Bureau of Public Service Reform stated this at a seminar in Abuja.
Since the signing of executive order by the Vice President to promote ease of doing business last year, Nigeria has moved 24 places to 145th position on the World Bank Ease of Doing Business Index. This seminar by the Bureau of Public Service Reforms hopes to build on the success recorded and encourage use of ICT in the public sector.
We have gone through the websites of most government agencies and discovered that not up to 30% of them are active and functional, in line with the ease of doing business, which is focusing on the customer that we provide service to. We feel it is necessary for us to encourage MDS to make their websites functional.
Interested in trading across borders, how fast it is for us to do business with other countries.
Business using ICT to enhance it will bring about transparency and also bring about overall growth in the ways in which we do business.
The scorecard of ranking MDAs websites will be used to assess performance of MDAs with a view to encouraging innovation. In Abuja, Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
The Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation says a private sector-driven agency will be established as part of efforts to stop using public funds for bailouts of Nigerian banks from liquidation. The corporation's managing director, Umaru Ibrahim, stated this while defending the 2018 budget before the House Committee on Insurance. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
The 2018 budget projection by the corporation is based on stability in the global oil price, improvement in foreign reserves, and policies of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Managing Director of the corporation, Umar Ibrahim, briefed the committee on the proposed agency.
That is one way of, tackling the problem, given the obvious constraints AMCON itself is facing.
Members raised issues on the financial position of the corporation as at 31st December 2017. These include cash and balances with the Central Bank of Nigeria, total funds available for the sale of financial assets, and compensation due to insured depositors.
We have to begin to do things that, and I believe between us and Banking Committee, we can bring up new bills.
An official exchange rate of 365 naira to US dollar is projected for the 2018 budget estimate by the NDIC. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Well, we'll take a short break now. The news continues in a moment. Stay with us. If you're just joining us, this is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Well, reports just reaching us says President Muhammadu Buhari has warned that any delay or inaction in rescuing the Lake Chad Basin will accelerate the worsening standard of the millions of people, with their consequences on the African continent and the world at large. The president was speaking at a high-level session of the International Conference on Saving Lake Chad. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the conference was put together by Nigeria, UNESCO, and the Lake Chad Basin Commission.
With the theme, Saving the Lake Chad to Revitalize the Basin's Ecosystem for Sustainable Livelihood, Security and Development, the conference is aimed at creating global awareness on the shrinking lake, as well as developing a comprehensive action program to save it from extinction. President Muhammadu Buhari was emphatic that Lake Chad, as a source of livelihood to over 45 million people, is very dear to his heart. At the moment, he however said it is worrisome that with the shrinkage of the lake, more than 7 million people are facing threats of famine. Farmers and herdsmen struggle over the little water left, and the resultant joblessness and difficult economic condition is forcing the youth to join terrorist groups, hence the instability in the sub-region.
We must treat the issues of the Lake Chad with the urgency they deserve and show the needed political commitment toward reviving the lake. The time to act is now. The time to bail out the region is now. The time to show our humanity is now.
The federal government, President Buhari said, has initiated several measures to cushion the plight of the people living on the Nigerian side of the basin, including the presidential initiative on the Northeast Recovery and Peace Building Assessment, as well as the establishment of the Northeast Development Commission.
As we continue on this journey towards our goal, I wish to use this medium to solicit for your continued collaboration and support. Let me reiterate our firm commitment to restore the Lake Chad to its former glory.
Chairman, Summit of the Heads of State of the Lake Chad Basin Commission and President of Niger, Muhammadu Isufu, said though ambitious, the mission to save the Lake Chad is an indispensable task that must be done in the interest of the security, stability, and development of the region.
The declaration of Abuja, which of course will follow, must incarnate a roadmap that is very important, which all our partners must support, so that we'll be able to actually bring to bear our ambitions concerning the Lake Chad restoration.
UNESCO believes that water is a catalyst for cooperation, and that cooperation is crucial for sustainable and peaceful development. We stand ready to assist member states of the Lake Chad Basin.
In their messages of goodwill, the presidents of Chad, Gabon, Central African Republic, Prime Minister of Cameroon, as well as representatives of the United Nations, African Union, the World Bank, as well as the Islamic Development Bank, commended President Muhammadu Buhari for his leadership and commitment towards saving Lake Chad and pledged their support and cooperation towards achieving the project.
It is therefore an opportunity for us to transform the issue of Lake Chad from a regional issue to an African concern. This is our commitment as African leader. This is our vision for the Africa we want. This is our legacy for the coming generations.
It is the expectations of participants here at this high-level conference that Lake Chad, which used to be known as the oasis in the desert and one of Africa's major treasures, will be revived and its viability fully restored in the interest of the security and socio-economic well-being of the sub-region. In Abuja, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Well, Ruth in our Just studio has the next set of stories. It's good to see you, Ruth.
And welcome to JOS. In a bid to sharpen their entrepreneurial skills in agro-allied business and improve their economy empowerment, 100 rural women from Plateau State have been trained in agricultural value chain. Nenrot Nina Dinget reports that the training organized by Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency in collaboration with SME partner Mogovul Group was held in Mongu.
The 4-day workshop was to train rural women in various aspects of agricultural value chain, which includes farming, food processing, packaging, and marketing of the products. Enterprise Development Officer Smidan John Luca urged the participants to utilize the training to improve on their economic life and always consult agri-extension workers on best practices to avoid losses.
When the federal government talk of something and
they identify you, I will please urge you to take it very serious.
Some Smedan development partners said the training the women have been exposed to is to turn around their economy and make Plateau State and Nigeria a hub of uniquely processed agro products.
Training 100 women in agriculture value chain. That is to produce better, to process better, to package better.
Of the participants speak on the training.
I will be able to understand what they are teaching and start something that will help my family.
It will help me impact my family, the market, and my immediate environment.
The workshop is one of the deliberate efforts of government to improve on the agricultural potential of the rural dwellers, especially women in Mungu. From Mungu, Narot Nina Dinget, NTA News.
A professor of political science, University of Jos, Professor Pam Shah, has described the Nigerian Labour Congress as a key player in the political system and the fight against injustice. It was at a lecture to mark the 40th anniversary of the NLC in Jos. Again, Nenrot Nina Dinget captured the highlights in Jos.
The guest speaker, Professor Pam Shah, said celebrate modest achievements of the NLC and also look at the challenges it encountered in its struggles in order to bring about lessons from them.
We need to think of ways of reinvigorating ourselves, revitalizing ourselves, and transforming the trade union movement into a formidable people's organization.
The chairman, Nigeria Labour Congress Plateau State Council, Jibrin Banchur, said there is need for the NLC to reassess itself and also come up with documents that will improve the service of the Congress.
We're able to improve on our services to ourselves. It's not a matter of the name NLC, but the issue of our individual survival collectively as a people.
In a goodwill message, the Deputy Speaker, Plateau State House of Assembly, Saleh Yibmong, congratulates the NLC for its achievement in the last 40 years and charged members of the Congress to do more, saying if the union gets it right in their struggles, Nigeria will be better. In Jos, Narot Nina Dinget, NTA News.
A team of missionary doctors from United States of America, under the aegis of Hearing Help for Africa, are in Nigeria at the Jos University Teaching Hospital to carry out a special medical procedure known as cochlear implants for people with hearing impairment. Priscilla Grumnan has the report.
This is Professor Godwin Emande of University of Agriculture, Makurdi, who has suffered hearing loss in the last 29 years and has taken the bold step of having his hearing restored.
I actually feel elated that this problem is coming to an end. So if the surgery works well, I'll be able to, function at a better level than now.
Thanks to this team of doctors, Hearing Help for Africa from the United States of America, in conjunction with the Jos University Teaching Hospital, JUTH, for connecting people with profound hearing loss by offering life-enhancing hearing solutions through the cochlear implant.
Through the missionary work, what has happened, we have been able to do it. I think we have done free for nearly 10 people now, and some just pay something very meager.
With the about 1 hour 30 minutes procedure of cochlear implant over, team leader Douglas Green said as a Christian missionary outreach, they are passionate about affecting lives positively.
When we give of our time and resources, we find that we get so much more out of the experience. We become richer from it.
The Chief Medical Director of JUTH, Professor Edmond Banwat, who was represented, appreciated the doctors for sacrificing to better the human cause. The team leader presented cochlear implant equipment worth millions of naira to the hospital. In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
And that does it from Jos. Olga, it's back to you for more news in Abuja.
Thank you, Jos. Well, right synergy and collective support for the fight against corruption is advocated in building a virile nation. This was the standpoint of discussants on NTA's Current Affairs program Tuesday Live on strengthening anti-corruption fight. Talatu Ezerike reports.
It has been established that corruption, be it bribery, embezzlement of public funds, impunity, nepotism and other sharp practices, undermine national growth. This challenge led Nigeria's economy into recession, which the present government is tackling head-on.
We are determined to eradicate corruption from our body politic.
The fight against corruption, experts say, is gaining momentum in building strong institutions, instilling fear of corruption in the citizenry.
You know, people who didn't refund the agencies follow them up. So that created enough awareness to the extent that some people, even on their own, started returning monies without being asked to do so. You know, because they didn't want the EFCC or ICPC to knock on their doorsteps.
What has been the driving force behind the anti-corruption crusade and efforts being made is actually the strong political will for the crusade to succeed. The BVN has also helped a lot because with the IPs, you are now able to weed out ghost workers.
Many Nigerians therefore see in bad light the recent Transparency International report that ranks Nigeria low, which does not reflect the true position of things.
Transparency International got it absolutely wrong. There are quite a number of indices and indicators that shows that the fight against corruption has indeed been reasonably successful.
Last year alone, we recorded about 189 convictions in the anti-corruption world.
You really came in and fight corruptions and everything was okay. But I don't know, the next person that will come up 2019, what the person will do.
It is quite obvious that the body language of the present government is that of fighting corruption to a standstill. This is widely commended, especially with the African Union endorsement of President Muhammadu Buhari to champion the fight against corruption in the continent. Talatu Ezerike, NTA News.
It's over now to Beauty in Enugu for more on Nationwide.
See you and a very pleasant welcome to Enugu. Enugu State Governor has visited victims of windstorm at Uhumuwere in Igboeze South local government area of the state. 2 persons were reported to have died and property worth millions of naira destroyed. Ijoma Gweke will take up that report.
It was tales of sorrows, bitterness, as members of the community continue to count their losses. The lives of 2 young students of Uhumuwere Community Secondary School were cut short when the building of their classroom collapsed during the evening classes. Many of their classmates who escaped death sustained various degrees of injuries. The story is not different at Mario School of Catering and Hospitality, situated in the same area. The windstorm pulled down the block of classrooms, killing a man working. Proprietor of the school, Reverend Father Cornelius Obe, narrated their ordeal.
The whole of this building is affected. The whole of the roof, all of them are off. The building block for me was trapped inside that building. Then I rushed out. I was just alone with some of the small girls there. I couldn't leave because the iron door was on him.
Governor Ugwuanyi, while condoling with the people, assured them of government intervention. In Enugu, Ijeoma Gweke, NTA News.
In a bid to strengthen the relationship between the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and a host community, Enugu State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi has inaugurated a 1.6-kilometer road network built and handed over to the state governor by an APC chieftain, Chief Maduka Onyinshi. Ifeanyi Anna reports.
The fully constructed 1.6-kilometer road network with twin drainage system spans from Amokwa village, Oba Road, terminating at the southern gate of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Enugu State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, while inaugurating the road project, said the project coming from an individual is novelty and will in no small measure foster development and help drive the urbanization and modernization initiative of the state government. While commending the initiator of the project for contributing his quota to the development of the state, Governor Ugwuanyi urged other well-meaning citizens to key into the rural-urban development scheme of the state government.
That at the inception of this administration, we made clear our intentions to equip and modernize Nsukka, a university town founded over half a century ago, to compete with other university towns in our.
Earlier in his speech, Chief Sam Maduka Onyishi said he spearheaded the project to enable his community feel the impact of the university. The APC chieftain urged the people to ensure proper use of the road.
For over 58 years, it has not been properly constructed, and I felt that since I can do it now, I should do it. We have waited enough. I will also say that government is doing her best.
The inauguration attracted some members of the Federal and State House of Assembly, as well as the Vice Chancellor of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, Professor Benjamin Uzumba. In Enugu, Ifeoma Nduokolie, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the reappointment of Mr. Segun Awolowo as the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. In a statement signed by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, the appointment letter was signed by Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa. Mr. Awolowo, a lawyer and scion of the Obafemi Awolowo's family, was first appointed to the position in 2013. You're still watching Nationwide. We go now for another commercial break. Stay tuned.
At the end of 2017, the Buhari administration delivered a number of unprecedented achievements. Generated power has gone up to 7,000 megawatts in 2017 from 3,000 megawatts in May 2015. More than 1.6 trillion naira has been spent on infrastructure for roads, bridges, housing, dams and railways. Nigeria moved up 24 places on the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business rankings and earned a place on the list of top 10 reformers in the world. Today, 5.2 million primary school children in 28,249 schools in 19 states are receiving a free meal daily. Our customs service recorded its highest ever revenue collection of 1 trillion naira in a single year. Our foreign exchange reserves grew by $12 billion, reaching the highest level since 2014. We added $250 million to the Sovereign Wealth Fund and officially moved out of recession.
Welcome back. Maiduguri is our last port of call on Nationwide, and Jumai has the latest from that zone.
And thank you for joining us. Welcome to Maiduguri. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, says the ongoing onslaught against Boko Haram insurgents is sacrosanct owing to the political will of the federal government to restoring normalcy to northeastern Nigeria. The Chief of Air Staff made this assertion while inaugurating newly built structures for officers and men at the 171 Nigerian Air Force Detachment, Mongonu. Abubakar Mohammed Musa reports.
The inauguration of office complex, a block of 4 single officers' quarters, 10 block of airmen and women accommodation, as well as new helipad by the Chief of Air Staff is part of efforts towards ensuring better troops for optimum performance in the theater. Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar said the role of soldiers in winning the war against terrorism is indispensable and therefore called on troops on the battlefield to devise various contemporary offensives in eliminating Boko Haram insurgents.
I've also directed all relevant directorates to quickly look at gaps that are here and ensure that we're able to bridge those gaps so that our personnel can work effectively.
National Security Advisor Major General Babagana Monguno, retired, acknowledged the unwavering commitment of the Nigerian Armed Forces in restoring peace to the Northeast region and assured of continued support.
We have a partnership with the Nigerian forces. Right now we are operating with the Nigerian troops and also with the Cameroonian troops across common borders because we have common enemies, so we are dealing with the situation as per a joint operation with these nations. That's what we're doing.
Air Task Force Commander Operation Lafia Dole, Nigerian Air Force Maiduguri, Air Vice Marshal E.D. Gamso Lubo, noted that the inauguration of structures at 171 NAV Detachment Monguno has relatively reawakened their security consciousness and commended the Chief of Air Staff for providing the enabling environment. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Muhammad Musa, NTA News.
In its efforts towards providing quality education to children in wards of Air Force, Air Officers and Men, Nigerian Air Force Officers' Wives Association, NAFOA, has inaugurated a daycare and nursery facility at the Air Force Base Maiduguri. Named NAFOA Little Angels Nursery and Primary School, the daycare has the capacity to accommodate 300 pupils. Naomi Apogo reports.
The facility has 8 classrooms, staff and conference rooms, 2 blocks of toilet, a crèche and head teacher's office, among others. Inaugurating the NAFOA Little Angels Nursery School, wife of Borno State Governor Nana Shtima commended the air officers' wives for the initiative and thanked the Nigerian Air Force for their numerous contributions towards the well-being of people affected by insurgency in the state.
Education remains the only means of attaining meaningful development and maintaining human dignity, because it is the only tool that liberates human beings from the clouds of poverty and ignorance.
National President NAFOA Hafsat Sadiq Abubakar said the association will continue its quest to provide service to humanity as part of the mandate of the organization.
Any society that does not place paramount importance of the education of its youth and children is not fully engaged in preparing for a greater tomorrow.
She explained that NAV Base Maiduguri is an operational point where personnel are involved in the war against insurgency, and NAFOA saw the need to provide early education care for their children and those of surrounding communities in a safe and conducive environment. Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar described NAV Base Maiduguri as critical to the Nigeria Air Force air power projection in the northeast, and therefore acknowledged the complementary effort of NAFOA to seeing that targets are achieved. In Maiduguri, Naomi Aboku, NTA News.
That's it from Maiduguri. Ogwa, it's over to you.
Thank you. And now sports update with Amanze Marcus.
The Nigerian contingent to the recently concluded Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, South Korea, Tuesday night arrived Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, to a rousing welcome after their historic participation as the bobsled team are the first from Africa to compete in the event, placing 20th.
My goal for the Olympics was to do the best that I could. And I had some personal best performances.
50 professionals from 8 countries, including Germany, will tee off the 2018 West Africa Golf Tour season, which starts with the FCT Classic at the IBB International Golf and Country Club, Abuja, on Thursday. Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed will perform the ceremonial tee-off of the tournament, which has a $25,000 purse prize, as the West Africa Golf Tour has slated 8 other tournaments in its third full season. Bali